stream on this channel, which I've had forever and a day, and I've done nothing with for the, gosh, God knows how long. I guess you could call this a moto vlog, albeit in my car. A lot certainly happened in the last 10 years, eh? So, man, we've gone from, through a couple of elections, COVID, a brain dead president, and gosh knows what else. Can't say as I'm really happy with what's going on in the conservative movement nowadays. You know, it seems like Trump has just gone completely off the fucking reservation with all of this like nonsense. You know, how much more money do we have to throw in to supporting other nations, foreign wars, Ukraine, you know, the whole Israel thing? I'm of the opinion that the entire, I guess what we're calling the state of Israel has been a complete and total disaster for the United States. You know, in my humble opinion, I don't think the United States has any business propping up any foreign nation, Israel or otherwise. I mean, you know, God bless them if they want to go it alone and be their own country, talk and trade with other nations and everything. But this, you know, I don't even know how to describe it, or, you know, what to describe it as. Somebody I know described like Israel as just an aircraft carrier in the Middle East for the United States, like a jump-off point. And I can't say as I like what's been happening in Gaza. And now, you know, within the last week, what's been going on in our own country. I mean, our country has been sort of a heading in the direction of becoming a tinderbox, and it's very much that now, especially in light of the recent events regarding Charlie Kirk and all that stuff. Just wow. I've been doing, you know, I've been keeping my pulse on what's going on in the political sphere of events and so forth, and clearly I have my opinions about what's going on with this country, but there's a whole host of things to cover. I mean, from Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Nicholas J. Fuentes, and then all of the other sort of podcasters like the PBD podcast, Patrick Bet-David, Dave Smith, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and all those things. And I, for fuck's sakes, am not really encouraged by what I see happening with a conservative base or whatever. Now, somebody did a metric or a post saying that they didn't have any, what do you call it? Hey, what's going on? Who is this? Right. So I can't say is look. I didn't agree with Charlie Kirk's you know, I guess you know, his doctrinal platform. I don't agree, and I don't agree with the concept of dispensationalism and Zionism and that sort of thing. This to me is a complete and total perversion of scriptural, in my opinion, it's a complete and total perversion of scriptural prophecy and the prophetic visions of, you know, the prophets and the apostles and that sort of thing. The problem that kind of crops up when you, yeah, it's Friday, it's rush hour traffic. The problem that crops up when, you know, when you translate, the Roman Catholic Church didn't want the Bible, you know, in the hands of the laity, right? So that's kind of one place to start. And the reason why they didn't want the English, or the Bible being, A, the Bible being translated into English, and B, the Bible in the hands of the lay people or the parishioners, is because they would lose control of the message. And that's kind of exactly what happened. But so you've gone from people hungering and thirsting to wanting to know what was in the Bible to having absolutely no clue or no interest in reading the Bible at all, until the recent, hey, what's going on, man? Hey, guys. Until the recent, disposal of events, i.e. Charlie Kirk being assassinated, right? And I have my thoughts on that. The jury is out for me on a lot of it. I'm of the opinion, I don't think that they got the right guy. I think that he may have been involved in some capacity, but was he the shooter? I don't think so. That's my opinion. And there's plenty of, I guess one could say, circumstantial or anecdotal evidence to suggest that he was not the shooter. I mean, we saw a guy on the roof, but we don't know, the video evidence of the person on the roof doesn't necessarily mean that was Tyler Robinson, I guess the alleged assassin, right? So, it's just, where do you start with any of this stuff, right? So, so you got the shooter on the roof narrative, which is kind of what the mainstream narrative has been. But then there's since been a lot of other video evidence that's come out, not least of which there's a video of a gunshot, or you can see the muzzle flash, and I think if you were facing the tent or facing the stage, it's up and to the left. Now, there was a theory that, and then there's also a video of what appears to be presumably the bullet coming in to the frame behind Charlie's head and then going, through to his neck. That's a running theory out there. Now, that's a theory I tend to believe or agree with based on all of the new video evidence that's been circulating out and around everywhere, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with everything. But who is the shooter? I don't know that we know, and I don't know that we'll ever know. It just seems like there's too much like tomfuckery surrounding the entire situation. And then, of course, the Epstein stuff. It's like, what's going on with that? And then there's the Israel stuff. I don't think, and I've written extensively about this stuff on my Substack. I could probably throw a link to my Substack into the description box a little bit later on. So if you guys want to check out like some of the stuff that I've written about, for some of you, it might just be like, overly taxing to read. I tend to like to get into the meat and potatoes of details about things, which causes me, I think a lot. So as a consequence of thinking a lot, I tend to be very verbose when I'm delineating stuff or talking about stuff, right? What I'm trying to do is I'm on my way to the boat show, which is up in Norwalk, Connecticut right now. And that's one of the things I wanted to do. But so I just, our country is in deep trouble right now. I don't believe we're living in a constitutional republic, and I haven't believed that for quite some time. I was, like the things surrounding January 6th and all that stuff. To me, January 6th was kind of like the official sort of funeral. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but for me, J6 was kind of like the official funeral for our country. And Uh, and then, like, ever since Trump has gotten back into office, it's like I've been scratching my head. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? You know, so clearly. And the other caveat to all of that is he was surrounded by and kept company with a lot of these, like, you know, the Bushes, the Cheneys, the Clintons. He comes from out of all of that stuff. Are we surprised that it just appears like it's business as usual with the election? Man, this person's all over the road. They're not paying attention. So is it any surprise to any of us that the country just seems to be, I don't even know, like, where to begin with any of that stuff. Maybe most of you don't either, but it's kind of comical in a way. And maybe many of you have been feeling the same way, same way I have. Hey, Bassa. Hey, Ed. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining, man. I didn't even think anybody would come on because I haven't done anything for quite a while with this channel. Like, I haven't actually created any content that's, like, directly coming from me, so to speak. But you guys are great. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming in. And if you guys can, I'm really... I'm kind of at a crossroads at what I want to do with the channel. So I don't even have a motorcycle anymore, and I haven't for quite some time. I've been thinking about getting another motorcycle, but as for the direction of the channel, I've kind of been trying to figure out how could I best serve you guys. It's like, what kind of content would you guys like to hear about? I mean, I'm all about, like, dealing with the human experience, helping. I feel kind of inspired to try to help people navigate through the human experience, because I've lived like 10 different lifetimes. I've gone through a lot of things, a lot of bad stuff, and I think it's important to try to, help. We're here to try to help each other out as best we can. And so I've been thinking about taking the channel and sort of maybe doing some things with the channel in that vernacular or that direction, talking a little bit about political events. You got to be really careful with politics because, not everybody that you speak to or speak about is going to agree with you. I mean, that just comes with the territory, right? But, and part of the reason why my heart breaks for this country is that all of the universities, schools have more or less replaced the churches and synagogues and mosques, if you will, in our country. They've become indoctrination camps, and they've become the places where the youth are seeking answers. And so young minds are fertile ground for ideas, especially when and for young people that may not have coming from single parent homes. Maybe they've left home, they don't have parents, or they don't want parents. Maybe their parents have let them down in some way, shape, or form. And so you got a whole cross section of our population that are looking for answers, and they're seeking to belong to something, and they want to belong to something meaningful. And a lot of this crap that's been being force-fed down, kids' throats is like a lot of this in ideological indoctrination and ideological subversion kind of stuff, right? So anyway, I'm just, it's really hard to navigate your way through all of that stuff, right? So unless you come from a really strong background. Oh, we got protesters up here up on the bridge. What does it say? Resist, no kings, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, that's like an anti-Trump, probably, or anti-conservative protest. So, BLM, I think Antifa has been designated a terrorist organization. I think BLM it has been or will be designated a terrorist organization. But, look, I'm all about free speech. And I think people, even if they have the most abhorrent, sort of disgusting opinions, on planet Earth, they should have the freedom to voice them in so long as it doesn't incite violence or doesn't they're not calling to exact violence on anybody else, because I patently reject any types of calls for violence against any human being. And I think, people who do egregious things to other human beings will have to atone for it either in this life or the next. And that's just my opinion about all that. But it's kind of like my whole approach is trying to reason through things. And I come from a cross section of faith. I consider myself a Christian, and I try not to impose. I don't proselytize my faith, and I generally don't wear my religion on my sleeve. But suffice to say, a person's worldviews or beliefs, religion or faith, will shape their politics, and that's just the nature of the beast. There's no getting away from that. How you were brought up, what you were taught to believe, molds and shapes your attitudes about a great many things in life. So when you go forward in life and you're trying to navigate through the shoals of the human condition, you're either well equipped to deal with those things or you're not. And so then what people generally will do, and particularly younger people, they'll find a means with which to bridge that gap, and sometimes it's not always good. It could end up being destructive, and some people don't know how to deal with the human experience, so they resign themselves they become self-absorbed. And so, like, when we look at things like people becoming transgender or furries or whatever that stuff, all of that, in my opinion, is just a form of self-absorption. In other words, it's almost, you could say that it's a surrender to not wanting to have to deal with the pain of life. And that's kind of the way I see it. That's the lens through which I see it. So I'm not asking anybody to agree with me, but that's just kind of the way I see things right now. But we're in quite a situation right now. We're in a predicament, and I'm going to try to create and intimate more content to you guys as best I can. But what I'm trying to do, or what I want to do, is to have it be a lot more structured, and to have the sort of production level of the content that I create to meet a certain standard, so that it's easy and navigable for people to sort of track with and track through and so forth. So anyway, I'm almost near my destination, but God bless all of you. I hope all of you guys are doing well and great. And I don't have an agenda other than just to share my thoughts and my musings with everybody. That's the only reason why I've kind of come on. And I guess you could say I've felt inspired to do this. So we'll be in touch. Take care, everybody. Stay safe and enjoy your weekends.